welcome back to Fitnixx in the kitchen. I'm going to show you how I make my dill pickle kale chips. So getting more greens is always a challenge for a lot of people, and I did have someone reach out and request how to get more greens, specifically in the winter, but I'm going to go over a few different ways, whether it's winter or not. So, kale chips. Nice, easy snack, especially if you have that habit of evening snacking. You can obviously make this whatever flavor you want, but I'm going to show you how I was successful because it took me a couple tries to get this right. Dehydrating pretty much any vegetable. There's a lot of different vegetables. You can do sweet potatoes, you can do snap peas. I did. They were like nice, crispy. Even air frying them after if you want them a little crispier. But the kale chips turned out really good, exactly how I was aiming for. Any of you have bought kale chips in the store, they're like $8 for this small little bag. So this is definitely the more cost-effective way, and you can choose your own flavors, which is amazing. What else? You could put stir fries. Stir fries are super easy to make it your own and to switch it up. Literally, whatever season, whatever vegetables is around, you can use it. Soups are a great option. You can put anything in soups, even chilies. Chili, a lot of people think, oh, you have to put like beans and tomatoes and then meat or something. But you can put any vegetables in your chili. You can make it more of a stew. Eggs, egg white cups. You can make omelets with a bunch of different vegetables. You can make just like some egg whites with some spinach. You can put egg cups or egg white cups if you're on the go and you're in a rush a lot, putting vegetables in there. What else is there? But anyways, there's lots of different tools and options and recipes, and I'm always trying to get some more, so I will continue to do that. But let's get back to our kale chips. So first, I always get like the fresh, you can get them still in like boxes, bags, whatever, but I like getting the big chunks of the chips. I don't know why, they just taste better. So I get this nice fresh, I'm going to cut out these little sticker wrap things. We don't want those, obviously. And then you're going to wash it. Okay, so once it's all washed and rinsed off, you're going to kind of break it into like whatever size you want the chips. So if you want them smaller, break it up smaller. If you want big ones, you can get big ones. I like to kind of get big ones, but not too big. And then once the stem gets really thick, you also don't want that. That's not going to really dehydrate too well. So you kind of almost pick the leaves off of the stemmy part. But just like this, I find that's like a perfect size. But again, it's your kale chips. Do whatever you want. Anyways, so once those are all in there, so I've broken it all up into pieces. There was so much kale, so I actually have 2 bowls here. And what we're going to do is basically make like a liquid mix of, there's like dill pickle powder, which I found really gives more flavor and more potent flavor. I use fresh dill as well, but I found it just didn't have as much flavor and it didn't stick as well, where this just kind of gets right into it while it's sitting, but also while it's in the dehydrator. So egg whites just allow it to kind of soak in and stick. It sticks a bit better while it's like dehydrating as well, I find. I don't know why, it just does. So egg whites, kind of pour it in, just enough to kind of get it all wet. And then you can be very generous. I have garlic powder. You can put onion powder as well. I have done that in the past, but I didn't notice a big change in flavor. So be very generous with this. I'm going to put lots and lots and lots. Lots and lots and lots in both here. And again, you're in control of the flavor. So as much or as little of whatever flavors you want here. And then, so this is fresh dill that I've frozen. I probably should have thawed a little bit longer, but it's going to go in that liquid texture anyways. And as it kind of sits, it will melt a little. It'll thaw out while it's in there. But you want to mix it up really good. So as you're mixing it, your fingers should be getting like wet. So you should make a bit of a mess with your hands here. But get in there, have fun, get messy. And then once you feel like all of the leaves are wet and have a lot of wetness on them, that's when you want to go in with the dill pickle flavoring. And again, be generous. You'll be adding a little bit more before you put it on the dehydrator as well. But you should really smell the dill pickle. Good. So, and like, feel free to like massage it into the leaves. Because kale is so fibrous, it's very like thick. And so you can massage it a little. So this one's all ready to go. I'm going to set that to the side. I almost forgot the main ingredient. So because kale has a very bitter taste to it, lemon juice takes out the bitterness. Just a little kind of squeeze over. You won't taste the lemon, but you will not get the bitter that you'll often get with kale. So again, this is where you want to really mix it in, almost massage it in. Like, don't be afraid to kind of scrunch up those leaves. Squeeze it. You want that lemon. You want everything to get all over the leaves. And as you see, they're very curly and frilly. So you want to get in there with everything. Let's mix this one up again with that lemon juice. Again, that lemon juice is a very important ingredient. Do not forget the lemon juice. There, you should definitely have a good waft of like dill pickle. All right, once it's all like mixed and kind of just let it sit for a while. Doesn't need to sit for long. Usually once you like clean everything up and get the dehydrator started, that's usually enough time. Okay, so for those of you that are not familiar with a dehydrator, most of them are quite simple. You plug it in, you turn it on. They'll often have different temperature settings for different things. For things like vegetables, you want it to be really dried out or has more water in it, then you definitely want to go higher temperature. So it can also get very potent in a smell. So if you live in a condo like myself, it's very small space. You might want to put it outside if it becomes very heavy smell. But, and again, before we put these on, I'll often put a little extra of this just to get lots of dill pickle, because some of it kind of like absorbs in, and then when it dehydrates it's kind of coming into the kale, and then the top part is just a little extra seasoning. So when you're putting them on the trays, you want to basically space it out. So you almost want to flatten it so that it actually turns into a chip. Because if it's all crunched up, it's going to stay crunched up, and it actually might take a little longer to dehydrate and get all crispy and ready to go. I mean, you don't have to worry too much about it. It's going to dehydrate regardless. But you want to make sure it's... If you're like me and you like those big chips, then you're going to want to spread it out just a little bit all the time. So, again, like I said, I love the dill pickle seasoning. It's delicious. So before I turn it on, I'm going to put a light sprinkle on. These trays do have like, they're like a wafer. So it's all opening underneath. So I make sure over the sink, I'm just going to sprinkle just a little bit on these guys. All right. right, so it's ready to go, all piled on. I have the lid. I'm going to plug it in, turn it on, and honestly, you just let it sit. When you have more trays like this, if it's just like 1 or 2 trays, you could just leave it the way it is. But because I have a lot of trays, the bottom ones are going to dehydrate faster than the top. So it's actually good after a few hours to kind of rotate, shuffle them around. Rotate would be the best thing, actually. So making sure the one that was furthest away is now the closest, and vice versa, so that they all get dehydrated somewhat evenly. And literally you just leave it for hours. Put it in the morning, mid-afternoon, and just leave it all day. When you check it, you want it to be crispy and obviously kale chip. So we will check back on that later. So again, you can see this little slide of some cool ways to incorporate more veggies into your food, some creative ways, soups, stews, stir fries. Those are things you can pretty much do whatever you want with. And also stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and then I have the cooking recipes playlist, so you can stay tuned as I add more. Thanks again for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next time.